Hi there, thank you so much again for joining me on this channel. As always, I'm very grateful for all your previous views, likes, subscriptions and shares. So if you've been watching this channel for a little while, thank you so much for doing so and thank you for sticking around. And if you're brand new, you may be aware that I do these things from the basement or cellar. As you can see, it's a lot more mess going on than normal. I'm trying to have a bit of a tidy up, so apologies for all the boxes. Though during the tidying, it was nice to find this old friend again, which I used as a prop, I think, didn't I, when I did a video on Thor and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You've probably noticed as well that I've been trying to make the channel a little bit tidier and, dare I say it, professional. So we have my face here in a pop art Andy Warhol Marilyn Monroe style, and trying to create little playlists of the videos I've been putting up. I've noticed as well that I hadn't done anything on philosophy for a little while, so I thought we'd do a video on philosophy. So, philosophy and language. The literal definition of philosophy is a love of wisdom. And one of the things I'm particularly interested in is philosophy and ethics. So, ethics is the study of the rightness and wrongness of human actions. It's trying to work out what is right, what is wrong, what is the correct way to behave. And there's lots of different ideas about how it can be approached. Now, obviously, a core word when it comes to working out what is right and what is wrong is the word good. But even the word good can be defined in various ways. We might say, for example, that was a really good TV show, or that was a good meal. But a philosopher called Aristotle said that something is good if it fulfills its purpose. A nice simple example is a knife. If a knife is sharp, if a knife is comfortable, and if a knife cuts through things, then therefore, according to Aristotle, it is a good knife. If the knife was all rubbery and difficult to hold or wouldn't cut through anything, then it would be useless. It would effectively be a bad knife. Justice is another term we often use when looking at what's right and wrong. Justice is when something is equal, right or fair. But even just saying the word justice now, you might have different ideas and approaches to what the word actually means. Some might say that it is a just thing to do to have a society tax its highest earners. In other words, people who are earning a lot of money should pay a bit more in their taxes to make it fairer for everybody else, so that wealth can be distributed. However, someone might say, well, I don't think that is a particularly just thing to do. If someone is willing to work hard, they should be able to keep as much of their money as possible and spend it however they see fit. It is also worth pointing out that justice isn't defined as what is easy or pain-free. Think about the suffragette movement and the pain and the suffering they went through to achieve fairness for women in terms of voting rights. Now, in ethics, there's a branch or a family of ethics known as deontology, which highlights the importance of duty. This is all about your motives, in other words, your intentions and your approach to doing the right thing. So, I don't like eggs. Nothing against eggs. I just don't like the taste of eggs Benedict, scrambled egg, hard-boiled egg, etc. There I am staying at a hotel, and it's the duty of the hotel manager to make sure that I have a nice breakfast. But they serve me up scrambled eggs. Well, that's not their fault. In other words, they are carrying out their duty. It doesn't matter, according to deontology, if the outcome is a bad one or a negative. The point is, it's about your intentions and your duty is carried out. Now, the opposite to deontology is teleology, and this always highlights the importance of the end result. So, there I am in the hotel, having my breakfast, and I'm served up these eggs. Well, as far as teleology is concerned, it's the hotel manager's fault. The outcome is I don't have a nice breakfast and I'm a bit crabby. This means that all the pressure, all the moral responsibility is on the hotel manager. You've probably already noticed an interesting issue with teleological approach to ethics. That is, it's all about the outcome. Your motives aren't really mattered. They're not really noted. So you could hide your motives with a positive outcome. Another phrase in ethics is absolute. This applies to all people at all times. So you might have an absolute rule or an absolute principle. So you might say there is an absolute rule of always telling the truth. No matter what happens, you should always tell the truth. Now, some might say, well, actually, telling the truth in absolutely every single circumstance isn't necessarily the right thing to do. They would say it's relative. It depends on individual circumstances. So I might be in the street and somebody comes up to me wearing a mask, a stripy shirt and a swag bag on their shoulder. If they say to me, do you know where the bank is? Well, maybe it's a good idea if I don't and I lie, even if I do know where it is, because it's clear that that robber might want to do a bad thing and steal all the money from the bank. So a relative approach would be to say, no, I don't know, I'm sorry, and move on. Another approach to ethics is the term subjective. This is when things are based on personal preferences or perspective. It's also known as non-cognitive. A subjective approach to an issue might be saying, well, I don't eat meat. I don't think it's particularly fair to kill an animal. I don't like the idea of it. And it's just, well, not for me. The objective approach is the opposite. It's based on external facts, using your senses, looking at data and coming to a conclusion. Sticking with the meat eating example, it might be that someone says, look, in the majority of cases, these animals are raised and killed by somebody else. I'm not prepared to do that. Okay, I'm not prepared to eat something that I wouldn't be willing to raise and kill myself. In addition, they might look at evidence and say, well, look, I think that animals have a right to life. I think that animals shouldn't be raised in stressful conditions, as it sometimes happens with intensive farming. There's also the impact it has on the climate, and a plant-based diet is clearly the way to go. Ethics can be broken down into little family groups to help us understand it. Descriptive ethics is simply about facts. So the fact here is murder is perpetrated usually by young adult males, and most people disapprove of murder. It's not making a judgment about whether it's right or wrong. It's simply observational. That's what descriptive ethics is. It's a starting point to a deeper discussion. Moving on from that, normative ethics is about values and why people make these choices. So an example of this might be, it is always wrong to murder another human being. It's not digging deep as to why it's wrong. It's saying, look, most people seem to think it is wrong and actually it's a choice, and well, we need to dive a little bit deeper. There's also a branch of ethics called meta-ethics, and this looks at the meaning of language. So when someone says murder is wrong, well, what do we mean by the word wrong? Is it a subjective point? Is it an objective point? Is it something that's based on evidence? Is it the same in different countries? Are there variations in culture? And the idea is actually the language that we use to describe things can have different meanings as well, according to different people. It's about really trying to drill down deep into what our language means. I'm still not entirely sure if this has been a successful video. I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely convinced myself, which is not exactly a glowing endorsement, because essentially it's just me reading out a list of words and what I think they mean with some examples. But I guess that's the point of this channel, isn't it? It's about trying things, and if they don't work, well, it's all part of the learning process. Anyway, I'm sure you will let me know in the comment section if you are able to. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please do take care of yourselves. If you are able to like, comment and subscribe, then please do. And as always, enjoy your learning.